African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of December 16, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue to conduct a special military operation. Units of the North Group of Forces inflicted a defeat on the formations of the Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and 2 brigades of territorial defense in the areas of the settlements of Novaya Sich, Kondratovka, and Maropli in the Sumy region. On the Kharkiv direction, a defeat was inflicted on the units of 3 mechanized brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a brigade of territorial defense, and a brigade of the National Guard in the areas of the settlements of Pervomaysko, Baranovka, Nesterno, Volchansky Katora, and Primorsko in the Kharkiv region. The enemy lost over 250 servicemen, a multiple rocket launcher system Grad, an artillery gun, 23 vehicles, a radar station Rada produced in Israel, a radio-electronic warfare station, and 3 warehouses of material resources. Units of the West Group of Forces, as a result of active actions, liberated the settlement of Novoplatinovka in the Kharkiv region. A defeat was inflicted on the live forces and equipment of 3 mechanized assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a brigade of territorial defense, and a brigade of the National Guard in the areas of the settlements of Blagodatovka, Podoly, Shikovka, Gleshkovka, Kupiansk-Zlovoy in the Kharkiv region, and Krasny Lyman in the Donetsk People's Republic. The losses of the Ukrainian armed formations amounted to over 220 servicemen and 4 armored combat vehicles. 18 vehicles, 3 artillery guns, a radio-electronic warfare station, and 3 warehouses of ammunition were destroyed. Units of the South Group of Forces took more advantageous positions. A defeat was inflicted on the formations of 2 mechanized, motorized infantry, airborne, and mountain assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, and a brigade of the National Guard in the areas of the settlements of Mayaki, Alexeyevo-Drushkovka, Stepankovo, Slavyansk, Petrovsko, Konstantinovka, and Kramatorsk in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 200 servicemen, 4 armored combat vehicles, 13 vehicles, 3 artillery guns, and 5 warehouses of ammunition. Units of the Center Group of Forces continue to destroy the surrounded enemy in the microdistricts of the eastern and western parts of the city of Dnipropetrovsk in the Donetsk People's Republic and liberated 120 buildings. The clearing of the settlements of Svetlo and Grishino in the Donetsk People's Republic from scattered formations of the Armed Forces of Ukraine is continuing. A defeat has been inflicted on the live forces and equipment of the Mechanized Brigade, 2 infantry brigades, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, a territorial defense brigade, and 2 National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements of Svetlo, Turetsko, Belitsko, and Shevchenko in the Donetsk People's Republic and Novopavlovka in the Dnipropetrovsk region. The enemy's losses amounted to over 505 servicemen, 4 armored combat vehicles, including AM-113 APC, a Grad multiple rocket launcher system, 9 vehicles, and 10 artillery pieces, including 6 of Western origin. Units of the East Group of Forces continue to advance into the depth of the enemy's defenses. A defeat has been inflicted on the live forces and equipment of the Mechanized Brigade, assault brigades, 3 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements of Andriivka, Velikomikhailovka in the Dnipropetrovsk region, and Gulyai-Pol and Kosovstvo in the Zaporizhia region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost over 295 servicemen, 19 vehicles, 6 artillery pieces, 2 electronic warfare stations, and 3 material depots. Units of the Dnieper Group of Forces inflicted a defeat on the formations of the Armed Forces of Ukraine's Mechanized Brigade, Territorial Defense Brigade, and National Guard Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Orkhov, Novoandriivka in the Zaporizhia region, and Otradokomenka in the Kherson region. Up to 50 Ukrainian servicemen, 19 vehicles, 6 artillery pieces, 2 electronic warfare stations, and 3 material depots were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, unmanned aerial vehicles, and missile and artillery units of the armed forces of the Russian Federation inflicted a defeat on transport infrastructure objects used by the armed forces of Ukraine, an assembly and storage workshop for unmanned aerial vehicles, and temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 154 districts. Air defense systems shot down 180 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the enemy has lost 669 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 103,362 unmanned aerial vehicles, 639 anti-aircraft missile systems, 26,562 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 1,633 MLRS combat vehicles, 31,948 field artillery guns and mortars, 49,167 support military vehicles. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.